here is where you select your professions. As I mentioned, we have before now revealed 5 of them, and we will show off a new one today. The professions we've revealed are the Elementalist, the Warrior, the Guardian, who will be playable for the first time today, the Ranger, the Necromancer, and we'll show off our new profession, the Thief. So let's go ahead and choose a Guardian for this introductory experience. We will have a very involved custom characterization appearance system, but for the purpose of this demo, we want to focus on another part of character customization, which we call the biography. So I talked a little bit earlier about how we do personal story. And one of the main ways that we kind of establish your initial personal story is through the biography, which is a series of questions that ask you about your character before you even get into the game world. So here, this is a fairly aesthetic question where we ask, what kind of symbol of dedication you'd like. In this case, this would just primarily change your appearance. It would give you a piece of equipment specific to your profession. We can go on to the next one. It's a little bit more interesting. This question here, which asks you, when you encounter trouble, how do you deal with it? This is an indication of our personality system. Our personality system is a way determines initially how you interact with NPCs. For example, if your personality becomes too intimidating, too ferocious, then in the game world, children will run away from you as you walk into town. Likewise, you are not, we are setting your initial disposition here, but as you interact with NPCs, deal with them in different ways, your personality will continue to evolve so that you're not locked into whatever you choose here. Here the choices are, you can deal with things with charm, with dignity, or with ferocity. And since we are a Norn, we will choose ferocity in this case. This next question is, it talks about, the important thing to note is this question is specific to each race. Each race will have a different version of this question. The humans, for example, when they are faced with this part of the biography, are asked, which part of society are you from? Are you from the streets? Are you from the nobility? Here, that's not as relevant to the Norn. The Norn don't care about that kind of social stratification. Rather, to them, it is much more important to understand what is the true nature of heroism. What is the most important quality to being heroic? You can choose strength, cunning, or instinct. For the demo, we'll choose cunning. This is an example of a choice that will not be, the impact of this will not be immediately apparent, but it will have far-ranging impact on your story. There are elements of the biography we like to introduce where it's kind of quirky and funny. You don't really know how it's going to impact you, but you go ahead and make a choice. Here we say, at a recent celebration in Hellbreak, something happened. Your choices are, I blacked out and I don't really remember what happened. Something happened that is going to make me seek revenge. Or lastly, I lost an important family heirloom. Okay. Lastly, here are the 4 great spirits of the Norn race. Just as if you were a human, you'd be asked now which human god you have the most affinity for. Here we ask, which of the 4 great spirits are you going to align with? Each of them have certain characteristics. Bear is strength, snow leopard is cunning, wolf and raven are also available. We'll go ahead and choose snow leopard here. And you'll see up here that the text is the embodiment of all the biographical choices you've made. This text will continue to grow through the game. We actually have a journal in game that will continue to be updated as you make different choices and decisions in the game world. So let's go ahead and hop on in.
I am Norn, hunter of the wild, born of the free and rugged Shiver Peak Mountains. In the far north, my people fought our greatest enemy, Jormag, a dragon of frost and snow. The dragon broke our pride, but it did not break our spirit. In our last hour, we heard the voices of 4 of the spirits of the wild: bear, raven, snow leopard, wolf. They called us south, away from certain annihilation. We founded the Great Lodge of Holbreck and claimed new hunting grounds. Some say we should not fight Jormag. I say, the greatest risk is to wager nothing at all. One day, a hero will lead us home, and we will break the dragon's icy grip.
So at this point, because I chose cunning, the cinematically actually branches out.
I weave the skein of wisdom. My cunning confounds lesser foes. Like my ancestors before me, I seek glory. One day, I will take my place among the heroes of the Norn. The spirits of the wild have given me the gifts of trickery and cleverness. I challenge the skill of my own. I am the predator, they are the prey. I am still untested, but already my deeds have earned me friendship and great respect. Each year, a great hunt is called in Holbrook. Only the best among us are invited to participate. I'll prove my worth with guile, collecting trophies to show my prowess. Then, I will drink and boast of my victories. I accept this challenge. I relish it. Come, danger. Come, adventure. In the lodges and halls of my people, my cunning will be remembered through the ages. This is my story.
So as we load into the game, I'm going to take this moment to talk a little bit about the cinematic art that you saw just now. Obviously, we're not trying to go for photorealistic. We really are. We have what we consider to be one of the best concept art teams in the industry, and we felt that it was a great, compelling way to use some of this concept art in a way to communicate storytelling. And so, our cinematic style is much more of a handcrafted, painterly style as opposed to photorealistic, which we feel photorealistic can quickly get out of date depending on what technology is using, whereas great art is forever. And so we want our world, both reflected through things like the cinematics as well as the engine, to feel like you are literally walking in the middle of a great piece of fantasy art.
You don't want to miss a chance for glory, do you?
So we're going to go ahead and we are outside the great city of Holbrook, and we've just arrived in time for the annual Great Hunt. And we're going to talk to this NPC here, Thora, to learn how we can participate in the Great Hunt.
Part of this year's Great Hunt?
I am. Tell me what I must do to prove myself.
Hunt down 3 of the wildest animals you can find. Take trophies from each of your kills and present them to Idaho. Whoever has the best trophies and whose bravery is the greatest gets to join the Great Hunt. Newt Whitebear has said this season's event will be one of the most dangerous, so be ready. I've even heard the renowned heir Stegolkin might attend.
I look forward to impressing them both, after I've earned my place in the hunt.
For glory!
Okay, so you'll see on the upper right that what appeared is the Great Hunt. The Great Hunt is part of the personal story. You'll see across the game engine, there are these NPCs or markers with the green starburst. What we wanted to do is make sure that it was very clear what parts of the game are moving your personal story ahead. The personal story to a lot of people is one of the most important things they have in the game. That's very different from other types of content that you'll experience. So here we've gone ahead and talked to a tracker to help us, flesh out the Minotaur. We need to collect a trophy off of them. So this would be a good time for us to talk just broadly about how the Guardian plays relative to other professions. The Guardian is a heavy armor profession, but with magical abilities. The three virtues that are represented up here in the UI are one of the things. Here, I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit. Okay. Are 3 of the things that distinguish the Guardian as a profession. Inherently, the Guardian has these 3 virtues that empower them to to do mystical things, like, for one, justice. The virtue of justice allows their attacks to have a burning effect. The virtue of courage allows them to shrug off blows. And the virtue of resolve enhances their self-healing abilities. Now, these are incredibly powerful abilities that make the Guardian a force to be reckoned with. But what makes the Guardian very distinct is that the Guardian can then choose, when they're surrounded by other players, to sacrifice a virtue in order to benefit the greater good. So a Guardian, when surrounded by other players, is always left up with the choice, like, am I better off powering myself with my virtue, or am I better off sharing it with a broader group of people and enhancing them? So the Guardian has this ability to do have a great support role within any encounter with lots of other people. So as we go through the hunt, you'll see one of the things that Sarah just did is interact with the environment to bait the trap to summon these skelk. It was very important for us to go ahead and have elements in the environment that you can actually, interact with, do things with, and again, be more immersed. Let's see. So we've gone ahead. She's been very efficient. She's gone ahead and collected all of the trophies needed. So now we're going to present these to Ido the Tanner and hopefully get qualified for the Great Hunt. As we run through this area, if you've seen the human area that we showed last year, you'll notice that the field, the appearance, all the ambient weather effects are great at kind of setting the mood for the Norn environment, which is this misty morning Nordic feel.
Hail, Hunter. I'm the local leather worker. I know the name. Show me your kills, and I'll make them into trophies you'll be proud to show at the moot. Drinking, singing, and boasting. I love a good old-fashioned moot. Others say they're parties for holidays, but I say everyday lives worth celebrating. Hey, Newt, look at these impressive trophies. Worthy of the Great Hunt, I'd say.
Indeed, you are skilled enough to defeat your prey, and wise enough to revere their spirits. You are worthy to join in this year's Great Hunt. By my own hand, I brought the mighty worm Sormir. He waits above in the plateau for one such as you to challenge him. The great heir Stegalkin watches over him now, waiting for the hunt to commence. When it is time, you and the others will go to the high ground over the valley. There you will face Sormir. Claim victory, if you can.
I can and I will. This is where my legend begins.
All right. So we've been instructed to join Heir Stegalkin to take on the great ice worm Sormir as part of the Great Hunt. Heir is actually one of the great heroes of the Norn race. She's one of the major characters in one of the Guild Wars books that we just released, Edge of Destiny. So in talking to Heir, we're going to go ahead and run up to face the ice worm.
May snow leopards spot danger in your path.
So we're being joined both by other players that we have joining us from ArenaNet, and as well as NPCs.
And the wisdom to understand.
Walk with the pack. In the eyes of Wolf, we are all brothers and sisters.
And as we enter the area, you'll go ahead and see that we have your first dynamic event. Immediately, you don't have to talk to an NPC. It appears in the upper right-hand corner. You see a description of the event as well as the progress bar for how far in the event it's gone. We can immediately enter the event and start participating. We can be helping these other players. And again, we aren't competing with these other players for XP. As long as we participate in this event, we will go ahead and get full XP, and so will the other players who participated. We've gone ahead and we've entered the next phase of this dynamic event. We defeated the small ice worms, and that has roused the big ice worm, the giant ice worm, is Sormir.
There's our prey.
So, as we mentioned, in our combat, we never want somebody to just be standing necessarily in one place hitting the same button over and over again. We don't consider that to be fun combat. It's very important that you... Wow. That was fast. That is the fastest I've ever seen the worm go down. Damn. Well, we can talk a little bit more combat in settlement.
Thank you. It was a hard-fought battle, and I'm proud of my part in it.
An excellent beginning to your legend, friend. You know, a lot of folks around here have problems.
That is one of the things I will say about having a game with dynamic events. The strength of the dynamic event is that it's unpredictable. Things can happen faster or sooner than you thought, and that is great from a gameplay perspective. It can make it difficult from a demo perspective.
Then we will see how my legend grows.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and claim the rewards that we got from participating in the Great Hunt. And before we leave this area, let's just go ahead and show them the scouting system.
Hey, Slayer of Issormir, if you want to hear about more ways to gain glory, talk to me.
So, as we know in MMOs, there are a great variety of ways to play the game and experience content. There are people who just love to explore completely freeform and discover things as they come. And you know, Guild Wars 2 is going to be great for that because they'll be able to experience whatever dynamic events they run into. However, there are certain people who would prefer that an MMO do a better job of telling them where to go, what to do. And for that reason, we had the scout system. Do we want to pull that? Can we pull that map up again? Yeah. So you see that we go ahead and mark places on the map with these hearts. These hearts are generally hotbeds of dynamic event activity, and so by guiding you into those areas, you will discover the dynamic events and experience. And head over to the high-level area. So in the high-level area, we will go ahead and show you how Thief works, as well as a larger-scale dynamic event. So I talked a little bit about how we want our combat to be very active, to be very dependent on position, and nowhere is that more true than with the thief profession. The thief profession is a very active profession that, because they don't wear heavy armor and their health, you know, they don't have the most health in the game, they need to constantly be on guard and making sure that their attacks hit for the most, as well as you know, that they are dodging incoming damage from monsters. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and grab a mob here. All right. So the thief is the first profession that we revealed that uses pistols. Sarah here has equipped double pistols, which will allow her to do some devastating attacks. You'll see that one of the things, go ahead and show some dodging, because you're taking a ton of damage. One of the things that we have, as I mentioned, we never want someone just to be standing there taking all the damage. We have dodging in the game that allows you to literally avoid attacks, avoid incoming damage. So a good player will keep an eye on when attacks are coming and be able to dodge out of them. Dodging does not come for free. You'll see on the right there's a blue energy bar. As Sarah dodges, she uses up her energy bar. So one of the things that's cool and specific to the thief profession that's very different from the other professions in the game is if you look at the 5 weapon skills here, there are no cooldown timers. Instead, a thief relies on an energy pool we call initiative to get her attacks, her weapon skills off. What this allows a thief to do is a thief has a lot more latitude to chain a bunch of attacks together if they decide, you know what, I want to do a really high damage finale. One of the ways we do this is, let's go ahead and go back to pistol and show unload. Unload is a particularly powerful attack that, because she's pulling off of her initiative and there's no cooldown, she can do 2 unloads back to back and really take a mob down quickly. Of course, that's a strategic choice that a thief does, because in depleting all of their initiative, they're going to be vulnerable for a period of time. We could go ahead and show stealth. Obviously, one of the key things behind a thief would be their ability to stealth. Unlike other games, stealth is not unlimited in Guild Wars 2. Stealth is a very powerful ability, and so we want it to be something that players use strategically as opposed to something that they kind of is a safety net that they have on all the time. So there is, in fact, a timer on stealth. It is not unlimited. It should be used. It should be used with careful forethought. One of the other abilities that's unique to the thief profession is something we call shadow step, which is the ability to teleport in and out of combat quickly. And what Sarah's showing now is that she's gone ahead and switched to Dagger Dagger, which provides another very powerful skill called Leaping Death Blossom, which she did a pretty good job of using just now. Let's see. The last thing about Thief that really explains why, you know, she's called a thief is the thief has the ability to steal weapons away from the monster she's fighting and use them against her. So in the case of the Moa, she'll be able to steal a handful of feathers. You'll notice the skill bar changed. And she used them on the Moa. The feathers basically blind the Moa and stop them from attacking for a brief period of time. So you'll see that between Shadow Step, you know, having to use stealth, also the thief has a backstab ability that is very much dependent on what position she's in when she attacks a mob. The thief has to be even more mindful than other professions as to where they are on the battlefield, what's happening, and what's going on, because we very much want players to be playing and looking at their tune as opposed to studying the UI all the time while they're in combat. Yeah. We're trying to find some giant tree-like, oh, that looks like, yeah, there we go. Oak carts are particularly fierce opponents.
An example of shadow step again, a little bit from a further distance now.
Yep. So again, it allows the thief to get in close really, really quickly, and if you're particularly skilled, you have a way of like getting in a couple of attacks and then jumping out very quickly. There you go. So what Sarah did just there is she went ahead and switched weapons. There's a one key way to swap weapons that completely changes the first 5 skills that you have available. So to provide a little setup for this event that we're going to show is there is a pirate, and he's gone ahead and send out his first mates to try and capture some of the neighboring villages. This is part of a dynamic event change so that first of all, the pirates will invade. If the players fail to defend the village, the pirates then go ahead and start setting fire to the village. I think from the smoke, we can pretty much tell that they did not succeed in defending the village, and so we are in the next stage of the event. The event actually has fire all over the village. So we have some friends helping us out, because this is very powerful, like this event is pretty high level. One of the things that we'll have Sarah show you is if we can find a water bucket. Water buckets are what we call environmental weapons. They allow you to interact with the environment and perform things that you couldn't do otherwise. In this case, part of the dynamic event, part of the victory conditions for the dynamic event are to put out some of the fires. So we were literally going around trying to put fires out inside the village. Okay. Oh, cool, firewall. So firewall is a great opportunity for us to talk about what we call our cross-profession combos. You'll notice we do not have to be grouped with any of these people. In fact, we are just ad hoc allying together because we are all after the same results in the dynamic event. We don't have to be partied together. But the cool thing about cross-profession combos is we have an elementalist who just dropped a firewall. And now, when Sarah positions her pistols and fires through the firewall, her projectiles will take on that fire damage and add additional damage to her attacks. Likewise, we talked a little bit about the Guardian. One of the cool things that a Guardian can do is lay down symbols. One of the symbols can enhance healing. The interesting thing that happens there is that if a thief were to go ahead and fire her pistols through that symbol, her bullets would carry that healing buff with them, so that any players who are near the mob when they get hit by the bullets get a healing buff. So as you can see, there's some cool kind of construction blocks to some very, very fun combat that can be done without having to be parted together. Here what we're showing is our down state. The down state, you do not die initially in Guild Wars 2. What you do is you enter a down state. From the down state, you get a new health bar, a limited health bar that starts ticking down, as well as a selection of skills that have the potential to defeat an opponent. If you are able to, in that last-ditch attempt, defeat that opponent, you will rally and spring back up. You will not go back to a waypoint to res. Likewise, one of the things that was shown just now, one of the players we were with tried to do, is revive us. The other important thing about our combat is, like I mentioned, we have no dedicated healing class. We felt it's very important that players be able to get back into the action really quickly. They don't have to sit around waiting for a healer to show up. Every profession has the ability to self-heal, as well as do some. Several of the opponents have other ways of healing their people in their group. The other thing is that players, as you'll see here, oh, maybe not, because they both got knocked down. But what you see here is a player trying to revive us. And all players can revive other players. Again, oh, they're trying. They're really trying. They're so close. Oh.
Oh, there's just a chain.
Yeah. Sometimes this is what happens.
And he came in for the kill.
But in a less difficult area, that other player would have been able to revive us. Again, it's not anything that's specific to any one profession. It keeps the combat flow going. You're not going to hit as many of these dead stops where we're like, oh, total wipe. You know, do we go back or not? No, you stay in the action. Okay. Let's see. One thing about dynamic events that we didn't touch upon yet is obviously, why would you participate in dynamic events? Other than they're cool and they just invite you in. Dynamic events, by participating in dynamic events, you do not get specific loot drops, because then that would probably incline players to try to get a certain event and say, I want this specific drop. Instead, by participating in dynamic events, you accrue an in-game currency called karma. You acquire enough karma, you can turn those in for some very valuable rewards in the game from vendors. All right, I think we've covered all the main things that make up the game. The only thing that I can think of that we didn't have time to show you relates to personal story. It really does drive home this notion of consequences, is that in Guild Wars 2, we demonstrated it in our previous demos, every player has a home instance. And a home instance is not just a single building. It is, in fact, an entire neighborhood with several buildings and structures and NPCs in there. By choices that you make in your personal story, you can determine which NPCs are present in your home instance. Are there buildings that appear in your home instance or not? Likewise, monuments to your greatness would appear in your home instance. You can, in fact, invite other players to come in and see your home instance if you want to show them off, or have them participate in parts of your personal story. So I believe with that, we've shown almost everything we had to for this demo. I appreciate your time, and thank you for your interest in Guild Wars 2.
Tyria. The dragons have always been here, sleeping deep beneath the earth, beneath the sea, waiting for the time to rise. "100 years ago, the drowned empire of Or rose from the sea at a dragon's command. A dragon whose name is written in the legends of the dwarves. A dragon known as Zaitan. His soulless army surged from the waters, hungry for destruction. Our ancestors fought against the tide. But Zaitan's power was too great. We have learned from those defeats. We learned that no single nation can fight alone and succeed. The 5 races must stand together against their enemies and refuse to surrender. Heroes come together in glory, discovering new magic, new technology that will save our world. It is time for legends to become real. Now is the time. Claim your destiny. Forge your legend.